Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve, Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so fired up to have you join us today. We dedicated this podcast exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose. And what's that purpose? A servant's heart. Imagine you do that every day and you impact and make a difference in people's lives. I get to do it every day on a podcast in many other ways. You could do that as well. We also dedicated this podcast to inspire you, motivate you, and educate you how to make more of an impact. Kind of get the theme of our podcast. When you have a servant's heart, you're going to make an impact and difference. You could make somebody $1 million or just give somebody a smile. They both work as a servant's heart. When you make a difference, doesn't matter how big or small, it's huge. And here's your call to action, audience, as you listen to my incredible guest. How are you going to serve yourself and serve others today? And what impact will you create today? Keyword is today. Don't wait. Start making a difference today, and I guarantee you, your life and your business will do better, and you'll be much happier. Trust me, I smile a lot more now when I serve people and do great things like this incredible podcast for my great guests. Now, today's episode is sponsored by Pantheon Alliance. Join a community of high-income entrepreneurs and business leaders to create a world-changing thought leader platform to help grow your business. For more information on Pantheon, just reach out to me, and I'll get you all the information in the for the Pantheon. Impact and difference. What are you doing for marketing? How are you marketing your business? How are you marketing yourself? Remember, your brand, you as a person, is tied to that business. And we don't think about that all the time. I've learned a lot with my podcast and other things, how important that can be. Well, my guest today is going to bring good into marketing, which doesn't happen all the time. And I love the name of her business, called KidGlove. We've heard that million. Put a KidGlove on, it's so powerful. So let's welcome our guest, Lynn. Welcome to the show.
Woo, Steve, I am so fired up and inspired just by listening to you read that intro. I can't wait to talk today.
Oh, thank you. God bless. I got to know, where'd KidGlove come from?
So I like to say, Steve, that a lot of advertising agencies are boxing gloves. They come up with a great idea and they pummel you into submission, right? And anybody who's worked with a traditional advertising agency maybe knows that feeling. When I started KidGlove, I wanted to have a fantastic culture, both for our employees and for our clients. So we like to say that we treat brands and we treat people with great care, all based on that saying that we all know to be treated with kid gloves.
It's a powerful message. What is your superpower in your business?
For me personally, my superpower is enthusiasm. I get really passionate and excited about ideas, about clients, about causes, about purposes, about people. And I have been gifted with the talent of spreading that enthusiasm to others. I think KidGlove, the business, our superpower is, we like to say we put a megaphone in front of those who are doing good in the world. We are committed and intentionally focused on serving organizations that make the world a better place. And man, does that ever make it fun to get up and come to work in the morning when you know that you're going to come to work and work on campaigns that help foster kids find homes and help people with addictions find recovery and help people with trauma find support and all of the great things like that we are so lucky to be able to work on.
That's one heck of a mission. I love it. Let's go back. What inspired you to start KidGloves?
Well, I have always been an advertising girl. I really love this business because it is It is the intersection of creativity and business, right?
Mm.
And I spent the first part of my career in a national agency working on a variety of retail and business to business accounts. And I had a great time. I learned a ton. But one day I woke up and I just had this feeling like, hey, how much of my passion and my energy can I give to selling more retail products? And how much of my passion and my energy can I give to selling the latest greens mower or lawn mower or sprinkler head or fishing lure or technology solution? I really wanted to do something that made a difference. And so, me going off on my own and starting KidGlove meant that I could create the culture I wanted to work in. This is selfish, and it's the best thing about being a business owner. I could handpick the people I wanted to work with, but even better, we could structure ourselves and focus on finding the clients that are really an excellent fit for us. And then that flywheel just keeps going because when you focus on a certain group of clients, then we can go out and learn all of the best practices on dealing with a certain type of client. So we really have built in that expertise and that sensitivity that makes a lot of sense for them as well.
So you're empowering game changers, is what I'm hearing.
Ooh, I like the way you say that. We like to call them change makers, but game
Yeah,
changers, same thing, right? Like
yeah.
we even have a group of our clients and kind of close friends that we pull together, and we call it the Change Maker Forum. And we get together virtually because we have people from across the country, and we come in for a bit of marketing education, but then just peer-to-peer sharing. And it's one of my favorite things to get this group of people who are all purpose focused and making the world a better place. And they're asking and answering and sharing questions with each other. There's so much energy in that virtual room. It's fantastic.
I love that. And then the other side of that is social responsibility. That's
Yeah.
important too in marketing. Talk about that.
Well, I just believe that as marketers, we have not only the opportunity, but I believe the responsibility to use our voice for good, right? And that doesn't mean that you need to go out and talk about every social impact issue or justice issue or everything, but it means that you need to pick your lane. You need to decide what's important to you. You need to understand what you can speak out on, where you can bring value to the conversation, and you need to make sure you're out there because there's so much research right now that speaks to the fact that consumers and employees want to align with brands that are making a difference in the world, brands that have a purpose that fits their purpose. And so if you're silent, because there was a time in my career where we used to tell people, you know what, just sit out on this issue, just be silent. And once again, there are many issues we all should sit out on if we don't have anything important to say or of value to say. But in today's environment, your silence is deafening, right? If you don't have, an angle or a purpose or a position, consumers or potential employees might look at you as somewhat hollow.
Yeah.
And it can be an important part of your brand.
I like that because doing good is always better. And I know the media is all about negativity, but doing good
Yeah,
eventually, we don't know the ROI, when, where, how that's going to happen, but the result
absolutely.
from that. So, what would you tell somebody who says, I love what you're saying, Lynn, but what about my naysayers? What are the people that
Yeah.
come after me because I'm doing good?
Here's the thing. None of us can have 100% of the clients, right? We can't handle 100% of the clients. We don't need 100% of the clients. What you need are the clients that align best with your brand, your purpose, your mission, your skill set, your capabilities, and what you do. And quite frankly, that's what branding is all about, to help people understand what you stand for and your place in the world, and to help attract those people that fit you. But if you're doing the right thing with a brand, it should also help detract the people that don't fit. For example, if you're an organization that is, looking to buy agency services specifically on price, if you don't want to have a strong brand, if you don't want to have emotion or purpose in your messaging, you're going to look at KidGlove as a brand, as a website, our social media messages. You're going to meet Lyn Wineman and you're going to go, she's not for me. And that's okay, because I don't need all the clients. I need the ones that fit with what we do best.
How do you amplify the positive change in voices, though?
How do we amplify the positive changing voices? I think there's a couple key aspects of that. One of that is with branding and brand messaging and really helping give an organization, and I use the term organization because we work with a lot of for-profit businesses, but also nonprofits and social impact movements. But to help an organization find their voice and find their position, their competitive positioning, so they know and have comfort with their niche, but then using the tools that are right for them to help them get that message out to the right audience. And right now, there are more tools than there ever have been before, all the way from, digital media to traditional media, to guerrilla marketing, to influencers, to all the things. There's so many tools available. Once again, there's very few brands that have the resources or the need to use all the tools. But what we do is help an organization or a movement find the path that's the most cost-effective way for them to get the message out to the people they need to talk to.
Yeah.
I like to say, one thing I like to say, because you talked about branding in the intro, Steve, I like to say that marketing with a bad brand is like wearing sweatpants to a job interview, right? Like, it means you're not putting your best foot forward. And quite frankly, in this virtual world, we're all on Zoom. I know half of us at least are wearing sweatpants right now, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you've got a bad brand, you're either going to be forgettable, you're going to be attracting the wrong clients, people aren't going to have confidence in who you are, and a strong brand, which includes everything from the messaging to the visual identity to the way that you get the word out, is going to really help you.
Yeah. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, help them, mentor them. They ask about causes, or I talk about doing good. How do you
Yeah.
help people select causes, and how do you select causes to support?
Absolutely. Well, I think the first thing is there has to be alignment, right? There has to be alignment in what you do and what you believe as an organization and what the cause is. And then I think the second thing is there has to be authenticity, right? We all live in glass houses today in this world of social media and digital and all of the tools. If you're going to go out there with a purpose, you need to be living it. People need to see you, hear you talking about it all the time. And then I think the third thing is you have to remember product has to come first and cause has to align with product, right? Or whether you have a service or whatever it is, you have to make sure that there's alignment and balance in the messaging. People are going to come to you for the thing that you do. I need people to know that I am an advertising agency, but then the whole idea of the purpose focus then comes in secondarily, but very much in alignment with that.
Yeah, that's a great way to find a cause. And everybody out there, if you can, not saying everybody can, you're starting out, there might be a nice situation to do it, but if you can, I believe the number is 81% or 86% of companies that support a nonprofit or a foundation increases their revenue. That's a big number because of all that mindset. Let's jump into your podcast. Talk about your mission, your mission for change makers with the podcast, what you're doing, and you've got a lot of shows, which I love.
Sure. We hit our 200th earlier this year. So we're at, I don't know, maybe 220. The podcast is called Agency for Change. And I talk to leaders who are doing inspiring things to make a difference in the world. So recently spoke to Kate Williams, who's the CEO of 1% for the Planet, or Randall. Oh gosh, now I'm going to embarrass myself by forgetting Randall's name, but go look at him. He's the CEO of Beneficial State Bank. They're one of the highest rated B Corps in the world. But people who are really focused on making the world a better place, they're change makers, they're inspiring leaders. I love to hear their stories of how they got where they are, what's important to them. And then on every single podcast, I've asked each guest to share a motivational quote. So I've got this beautiful collection of over 200 original quotes from all of these wonderful leaders who are so humble. Whenever I ask them to share their own quote, they all say, "Oh, I don't know if I've got a quote." And then they speak these words of gold, and it's like, oh man, you got to talk more because that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a superpower of podcast. One of the many is not you get to educate yourself as a host, like you're educating me
absolutely.
on a number of great things. With your podcast, what do you think somebody when they listen to? What do you hope? I guess is the thing that they get from that.
Yeah, I hope that they take away some inspiration that they, just like you said at the beginning, they can make an impact today. Like
Yeah.
you can start with the I'm going to be a positive force for those that are around me today and take that all the way to, hey, I'm going to add a purpose to what we're doing with our company, or I'm going to start a nonprofit, or I'm going to go work for a nonprofit. What I love about this podcast is just the power of humans to make a difference.
You've done 200, so you do have a passion for that.
Yeah.
Most people hosts are about 10, maybe 20, and then they quit. So kudos to you. And actually, it does make a difference when you do a podcast. Let's talk about a book. You mentioned before the show in the
Ah,
green room, you got a book coming out. Tell
I
us the
got
name
a
of the book and what it's all about.
book. All right. You're going to laugh, but it's all about branding. The book is called, at least at the moment in its manuscript stage before it gets through all the editors, Untangling Spaghetti: How to Streamline Your Brand and Clarify Your Mission. So the book is a fable, it's a story. It's a story of an organization that's having some struggles. They're not quite sure like what to do about it. They've lost their clarity, they've lost their direction. And it's a story of how they find their way back with a strong new brand. And we have a proprietary 8-step process, Steve, that we use, that we know if we go through this process, we're going to have the information we need. The organization's going to have the clarity they need to make good decisions related to the brand. And they're also going to have the process to launch the brand and leverage all the power out of that opportunity. So the book takes you through the process. There's going to be some great downloadable tools. And then right on the heels of the book, we're working on a course to help people who want to go through the process in a self-guided format. They can do that. Or, of course, we'd always love people who are thinking about branding, people who are nice and purpose-driven and thinking about branding, to give KidGlove a call, so we can help them out as well.
I love that. I love clarity. Mention that because marketing is clarity. What do you
Yeah.
actually sell? Why do you sell it? Talk about clarity in marketing? It's a great word.
Right, right. Well, I mean, what's the great saying? The great saying about marketing is sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? So if you break KidGlove down to what we do branding, we do marketing campaigns, we build websites, we do digital campaigns, we do public relations, we do media planning, we do all those things. Every other agency in the world also does all those things, right? So for us at KidGlove, our brand is all about, once again, helping the people who want to be treated with great care, who want their brand to be treated with great care, to find us. And then as they learn more about us and learn that our mission is to put a megaphone in front of those who are doing good in the world, it really kind of is a self-selection process. Once again, if you are not doing good in the world and you come to KidGlove's website, you're probably going to on your own go, this place is not for us, which might be terrifying to some entrepreneurs. There's been a minute or two, if I'm being honest, in the history of KidGlove where I've said, am I being too selectionary here? Like, should I be more open-minded? But the reality is, we're now able to expand nationally out of our humble home office in Lincoln, Nebraska, because we've got the chops to show purpose-driven organizations that we can help them in a really different and special way.
Yeah, that's great, Claire. I love that. You just Claire, go Cornhuskers, by the way. Went to
Thank you.
Nebraska.
Go Big
Yeah.
Red. The volleyball team's playing tonight, so we're going to be cheering them on.
Look at that. Go. Yeah, that's right. The NCAA championship this weekend. That's awesome. Well, we're coming to the end here. I like to have some fun with my guests.
Oh, man.
Improv. Let's improv.
Oh, man.
You're going to love this. So I've got a reservation at a restaurant. Table of 4 for you.
Yes.
You're obviously going to sit in one of the chairs. In the other 3 empty chairs, who would you invite, dead or alive? Why? And what food would you order?
Oh my goodness, what a juicy question. All right. Well, I'm going to start with I would invite chair number 1, Meryl Streep, because there was a time when I thought I was going to be an actress before I discovered advertising. And my parents dissuaded me from becoming a theater major, but I like to tell people I may have been the next Meryl Streep. So I'd love to meet Meryl Streep. So this is going to be an interesting table because the second person I would bring would be Charles Retzlaff. And Charles Retzlaff, you've never heard of before, but he is my great-great-great-grandfather. He immigrated from Prussia to America. He worked in Wisconsin. He walked from Wisconsin to Nebraska, staked a claim, and built the farm and actually the house that I live in today, right? And so a lot of stories have come down through the family. I would love to ask him, what it was like. And then I'd love to ask Meryl Streep to help me with the movie, right? Like, there we go. That's how those two are going to work. And then the third, wow, that's all right. I'm going to say David Ogilvie. David Ogilvie is known as the father of advertising. And he wrote a book, Ogilvie on Advertising, which at one point was the beginning book for all advertising students. And he had some good things going on. I think those are my 3.
Hey, go the horse's mouth. Who started the whole thing? Might as well. You learn a lot. So what are we eating at this table?
Oh, all right. All right. I'm going to start with dessert because I have this theory about being a pistachio versus being vanilla, right? And it's that if you are going to a banquet with 1,000 people, they're going to serve you vanilla ice cream because nobody will complain and it will be fine. Very few people go home and dream about, think about, crave vanilla ice cream. I love pistachio ice cream because pistachio ice cream, not everybody likes it, but those who do, they love it. So I'm like, be a pistachio. So every year when my mother asks me to do my birthday menu, I go with pistachio ice cream and homemade chocolate fudge sauce. But then for the dinner, maybe because I'm from Nebraska and I was raised on a Nebraska cattle farm, which has the best beef in the world, I would go with a beautiful steak, a beautiful sweet potato, a Caesar salad, and then I'm really struggling here on the veggie, but I don't know. I love a good green bean that's kind of crispy with some almonds and butter on it. How about that?
That sounds good. That's a nice meal. You really would.
There you go.
I love
now,
it.
Wait, let's talk about the wine too. There's got to be a nice red wine, and I'm kind of into Barolos lately. So there we go.
That works. That comes all together. That puts it all together. Well, you've been a blessing. You're such a wonderful guest. Your enthusiasm, like you mentioned in the beginning, is so heartfelt. And that's what I love about it. We can be enthusiastic, which is good, but you bring it out to the heart, the passion level. It's great. People listening are going, hey, I need to reach out to Lynn. How can they connect with you?
Well, we're at KidGlove.com, but when you write that down, it's KidGlove without an E. So KidGlove.com. And you know why it's that? Because when we created the brand, there was already a KidGlove with an E.com. And they are a lovely transportation company in Indiana, but not a marketing firm that helps purpose-driven organizations.
Awesome,
Also,
right?
connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Lyn Wineman. I love to make friends on LinkedIn.
Well, there you go. And all the information will be in the show notes. Thank you again, Lynn. And audience, here's your call to action at the end. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, but not for what you think it's going to be. I say this all the time, and I keep repeating, but I know I repeat myself. Like marketing, you need to see the message all over, like Progressive.
Yes.
Why do we see Flo all the time? Because I remember her. So same thing with this call to action. Subscribe, and here's why. If you're listening to this show and you go, oh my God, my cousin needs to hear Lynn. She's saying some things that my cousin needs to hear. What a gift of taking this link to be on YouTube and sharing it with her, going, I think you need to listen to Lynn. And then they reach out to Lynn and you've helped them.
That's
what
beautiful.
you've done. You've become a servant's heart with a podcast link.
That's
a unique way of looking at it, but I've done it many, many times this year. And people thank me and connected with the person. What happened from there, I don't know. Sometimes they're a client, but sometimes it just becomes a great conversation. And like with Lynn, you connect with her. She might give you a tip on your branding to do better good, to do good,
sure.
To be better. So do that. That's why you want to subscribe. On top of commenting on the YouTube, if you have a comment for the show, love to hear it. The critique, love to hear it. Me and Lynn want to make this a great show for you guys and gals out there, not for us. It's about motivating, inspiring, educating you. And if it's a comment for Lynn, definitely get it to her as well. So don't worry about that. And with that being said, me and Lynn want to thank you all so much for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.